I think when I was on with you in January, I kept on saying, hey, listen, gold is going to break out. Be ready for the breakout here. The trend line we were watching was right here, right? So from the high in 2020 to this pivot here and to this pivot. And right into January, we saw this big move and breakout. And this coincided with the invasion of Ukraine. And that kind of put this major move up that took us to a classic technical double top. Now, short term, that's resistance. You've seen price pull back. I actually think you're going to see even more price pull back down to about 1850 or so. And then I think it's off to the races north of 23 to 2400, maybe even 2500 by year end. But again, right now you're in this kind of period where you had a big move. Price needs to check back. Use it as a buying opportunity. I certainly will be using it as a buying opportunity. Yeah, silver, the chart broke out as well. So that's a positive for silver. Silver's the one I think last time we chatted, I was a little bit more kind of iffy on because you have the industrial side. And I really do believe that the economy is going to start to slow throughout the course of 2022. However, the chart is always in charge, right? So whatever I think doesn't really matter. What does the chart tell us? And the chart tells us that this trend line has been broken. You are now above it, which means as long as you stay above it, you buy any kind of retrace. I'm buying $24 or a Pierce of 24 on spot silver. And I think you're going to head up probably by year end or even prior to year end to retest $30 per ounce. So I'm a bull on silver, might just have a little pullback with gold. And by the way, in all fairness, if for some reason the Russia invasion escalates, let's say it draws in NATO, well, then any sort of pullback is off the table. I mean, we have to be realistic about this. You know, you get a sort of a global world war, and gold is going to be the place to be. So just be understanding that I'm a swing trader. I'm a nitpicker in terms of price action. So I'm waiting. But if you have a horizon on gold of like 2 to 4 years, it doesn't matter. Same thing with silver. What's the difference between $1 on silver if I truly believe it's going to $50 an ounce over the next few years? So again, make sure you understand that. I'm a swing trader, which is much shorter term. I'm looking for a little bit of a dip, but not everyone's in my boat.
Recently, we saw nickel go to the moon and then it came back. And the way we saw it shoot up on a short squeeze, and then we had the exchange closing, and then basically only a downward price action was sort of allowed. I'd like your take on what happened here.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely insane, the moves that we've seen on nickel, right? And nickel, to me, it probably was a classic short squeeze. It was classic panic type situation. We know that, again, a lot of the nickel coming out of the global picture comes from that Russia area. So again, traders just got squeezed. I'm sure there were some shorts in there, much like an AMC or a GameStop situation where the shorts just had to cover. Price went against them. There were probably some funds that were over leveraged. They had to kind of exit. And that created this epic spike in nickel. Now, we did see it pull back quite substantially, right? So, I mean, I think that's important to note. If I go to my nickel spot price here, let me go to this one here on the chart. And what we saw is, as you mentioned, it came all the way back in. And again, I think that tells you more where real price should be. So again, price is now moving back up after that drop. My guess is it'll settle in around this area right here on the chart. But I mean, this is a wild time in the investing world, right? Volatility has been off the charts. Commodities have been going nuts. Inflation, we haven't dealt with inflation like this since the 1970s. So you have that as an extra issue for investors to deal with. It's a great environment if you're a swing trader, but again, you have to be ready for the swings in the market.
The reason why I asked about nickel was because I'd like to know your opinion. Can this happen on the COMEX with precious metals?
Wow. The answer is yes, to some extent. The gold market in general is more liquid, as is the silver market, so it makes it a little harder for a squeeze like this to take place. But there certainly will be, and we saw it. I mean, if you go to the silver chart and you go back to, I think it was it 2012 or something like that? Let me go back here and see on the chart. Yeah, 2000. Well, we had this big move here, but let me go back to my weekly chart. Yeah, so I still remember vividly when we had this move going back to 2010, where we went from basically 18 to $50 per ounce. So that's more like what I'm expecting. So it's not quite as vertical in such a short amount of time on silver. But I do think we do get in another situation where when 30 is broken, the $30 level, which again is this high right here with this high, when that gets taken out, I do think shorts will cover. I do think the momentum traders will pile on, and you will get a very quick move up from there.
I remember GameStop. I remember that Robinhood app, and I remember the SEC the media, the pundits, financial news networks coming after that Robinhood app and saying, this is what happens. These are amateurs. You should leave it up to just professionals. And here we saw it happen with the LME. What's your take on that as well?
Yeah, so I've always been an advocate for personal responsibility. When I make a bad trade, it's my bad trade, no one else to blame. So I'm not a big fan of Robinhood or any other player getting involved and saying, hey, listen, we're not going to allow selling or shorting. We're not going to allow buying, in anything. I think that, again, each person, whether they're knowledgeable or not, can make that decision with their own personal wealth to decide what they want to do. To restrict it is, it kind of creates this we know better than you environment. And I was a new trader at one point. I took a lot of hits. I learned a lot of lessons the hard way. I think that everyone needs to go through that.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
Do you want to know one thing about crypto? I made over 3000% in profit in a few weeks. Fact is, the traditional financial system, the traditional money system makes you poor, not rich. If you want to earn $500,000, $1 million, you have to wait until you're 50, 60, 70 in the traditional financial system, and you probably will still be broke. And you will be old. This is not a sexy combination, as you can imagine. But the question is, how can you start in crypto and make these profits? Where to invest? Where to start? My name is Gunnar and I'm from Germany, as you can hear, and things are a little bit different in Germany. More about that later on. Fact is, there are lots of different cryptocurrencies. It's a gigantic universe where beginners and professionals get easily lost. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are 7 key steps you need to follow to become successful in this market. You have to know them, and if you fail one of them, it's literally impossible to succeed in this market. Just an example, one of the key points is your exchange, and one of the biggest are, for example, Binance and Coinbase. These are trusted and well-established exchanges, but, and this is a big but, you won't find the super profitable coins on those exchanges. The unknown super profitable coins that get gigantic profits are not traded on those kind of exchanges. They are traded on much smaller insider platforms that are barely known. And I can tell you what those super secret exchanges are and why they are so profitable. And another super important thing are the right information sources. The point is, the internet is gigantic. There are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels, blogs, pages, and much more. And there are also market makers and influencers. For example, Elon Musk, he is not a crypto guy, but the moment he recommended Dogecoin, it went through the roof, to the moon, so to say. But why did he recommend it? Where did he hear it from? He didn't hear it from newspapers. And believe me, he is listening to someone. But you have to know who, and you have to react before he is reacting. This is really important. And these are only 2 of the 7 steps you have to follow in order to be successful in crypto. And if you want to know all of these steps in much more detail, and if you want to have a comprehensive checklist, here's what you should do. There is a link below this video. Click on this link and you will get the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Click on the link and you will see a video where I explain the next steps. So see you soon. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.